but he's going to be
yeah, I was going to say the old site, I think, is kind of on his way. This is just how do you not make it there? Because I mean, I guess what he had.
But he wasn't as good. No. She couldn't remember. Yeah.
No, I just need to know if they are email. Oh, I mean, just I look and see if it's actually works.
When did you find out?
So, yeah, I guess from that perspective, if you guys have some sort of restrictions about who you have access to.
They're doing well. They're doing well so better. You know what I mean?
That's the way to go.
So here's the thing then, is this is I know. We need to check not the new site, because the new site's not released.
I think we're gonna go.
I'd rather just say, no, because he should probably, I can go to this.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I just
Just want to welcome you all to our exhibition kitchen today. Thank you for coming out on a Tuesday. I know that we've confused everybody because most of our events are on Wednesdays, but today we have a special treat for you. We have Cara Cinto. This is the second in our series of our Balanced Bites with our Balanced Bod. So this is our second in a series of healthy cooking and healthy tips. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Cara again, and she's just going to take it over. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Deb. Hi, everybody. Big applause to you guys for making it over here today. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Cara Cinto, and before we get started with our food today, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I have a huge shout out today to my mom, who may or may not be watching through Periscope right now. It's her birthday today. So, thanks, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't be here today, Mom, so I hope you're having a really special day. A little bit more about me, now that I told you about my mom, one of the people that's closest to my heart. I am a Husky for life because I went to UConn for my undergrad, and then I went to Northeastern University for my graduate studies, and I got a master's in applied nutrition this past summer. So I'm recently graduated and very happy to say that I am now an alumna of Northeastern University. So go Huskies! Woo, don't want to lose my knife here. So today we're going to be doing Toasties, and this is going to be a wonderful snack or really any meal of the day. And we can use a lot of ingredients when creating our Toasties. We've got bread, obviously, for toast. Does everybody here feel comfortable making toast at home? Yeah? Okay, phew. So we've got that part covered. Now I've got lots of different parts of different ingredients that are going to go onto our toasts. So let me get started with the bread. Put it in the toaster over here. And we've got different breads today. One of my personal favorites is raisin bread. But if you are somebody that might be dealing with celiac disease, Udi's gluten-free is one of the go-tos that I recommend to clients. And I also really like sprouted whole grain bread by Ezekiel. Has anybody seen the Ezekiel bread in the stores before? Trader Joe's has it, and maybe today you'll get to try it. So yeah, I do need to put bread in my toaster, right? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm making toast. You guys got my back on that, right? Everybody said they know how to make toast, so I'm going to go with my raisin bread. Now my husband would not like this because he doesn't like raisins. I don't know if any of you are raisin, don't like them. No. Everybody likes raisins here? Wow, okay. Well, we get to try some later on in our tasting today because everybody's going to be creating their own toasts. So once I go through the different toppings, this is kind of like a toasty topping bar. You'll get to come up here with your own toast and top it however you want. We've got savory ingredients over here, and then we have sweet ingredients over here. And there's really no right way to put your toast together. It's whatever you really like and what you want to be on your toast. So you can mix up sweet, you can mix up the savories, it's up to you. Let me introduce you to some of my favorite things in the kitchen called spices. I like to keep things spicy, keep my flavor palette mixed up across the board, switching it up all the time. That way I don't get bored. So let's start with the spicy. The spiciest on our plate is going to be the red chili flakes. And most of these spices I've chosen because not only do they smell really great, they taste really great, but they're also healthy. They have anti-inflammatory properties, and when we're feeling stressed, like I know a lot of us are feeling right now, maybe, yes, no, it's okay. Anti-inflammatories are going to help decrease that inflammation and maybe help us feel a little bit better. So we can start off by smelling what we're putting into our food. So there is going to be a plate passed around today, and you'll get the opportunity to smell your own spices. The red chili flakes, I'm curious to see what everybody thinks when they smell that. So I'll be watching your faces. I don't know if you saw mine when I took a whiff of it, but it's a little spicy, a little spicy. So moving on our savory side, we've also got turmeric, and this has been used for years in Indian cooking. And again, it's highly anti-inflammatory and kind of bitter. This is one that I definitely try not to overdo in the kitchen when I'm cooking. I have before with quinoa, and it was so dry and bland by the time the recipe was done that, yeah, I didn't really want to keep going with that plate, so we moved on. Moving on to the sea salt. This is really great for our health because it's hydrating, and with sea salt, it's got a greater surface area than your typical granular regular salt. This does not have iodine though, so getting iodine from iodized salt is also an important part of our nutrition. But oh, my toast is done. But sea salt works great for packing in a lot of flavor. And okay, my toast is done. It's a little, well, I want you guys to see it. You can tell me what you think, okay? My feelings will not be hurt and I won't be offended. But what do you think of this toast? Is it burnt? Is it just right?
I like it.
Yeah? Okay. I think it looks good. I like a lot of crunch and a little bit of really dark brown. Okay. Let's move over now to our sweets toppings. We have cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice, which are used in a lot of fall baking recipes, right? Like pumpkin muffins. I have a recipe for pumpkin muffins on my website, actually, thebalancedbod.com. They're awesome. They take like 2 minutes to make, and they've got all 3 of these spices in them. So the first one is brown. It's really, really small, and I love the smell of this one. It's cinnamon. So cinnamon is also on that plate. See what you think of the cinnamon in comparison to the other 3 sweet spices we're going to use. This is nutmeg. Nutmeg is used in a lot of, again, winter recipes. So things like soups, maybe pumpkin chili, if anybody's tried pumpkin chili before. I actually made pumpkin chili last week with nutmeg, cinnamon, and the next one that we're going to add in. It's allspice. This one smells like cloves because Well, actually, I Googled last week. I was in the store. Somebody asked me, what's the difference between a clove and allspice? Because they smell so similar. And allspice is actually in a category of its own. It's completely different from a clove. But to me, it smells very similar. Now, here we've got what looks to me like rocks or little tiny mini coconuts. I smelled them and I can smell a little bit of the fragrance. And I'm wondering if anybody knows what these are. Yeah, it's nutmeg. Exactly. I haven't worked with an actual nutmeg before, and Chef Tom has graciously agreed to show me how to grate a ball of nutmeg.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated, kind of like toast. Take a nutmeg, take a grater. Actually, they sell these fancy little, if you go to Williams-Sonoma, or you could buy them online, a little, oh, it's probably even maybe like that big. It's got a little kind of a fine grater on it, and it's got a little kind of lid on it, if you will, and you can keep your nut in there, so the nut is not very far from your grater, kind of thing. Or if you don't have that fancy stuff, you could just take something really fine, and you could just grate, just what you need.
It's really good in creamed onions.
Creamed onions.
Awesome. So that way, kind of like pepper, when we're doing our freshly ground pepper, you're only using what you need. It's fresh. It's right there. Kind of the same idea with a fresh piece of nutmeg. So
Now I can really smell it.
yeah.
Much different than taking one out of the
Yeah.
bowl and smelling it.
Yeah. I think once you get the outer piece off,
The essence has been
yeah,
released.
kind of. Yeah. Exactly. So.
Yep.
There you go.
Can we
Sure.
pass that one around too?
Sure. Absolutely.
Thanks, Chef Tom.
Sure.
Okay, so now I know how to grate spices, including nutmeg. We've also got a plate here with 2 different spices on it, and I'm wondering, well, now we know what the nutmeg is. Deb told me to have everybody guess. But I think everybody probably knows which one the nutmeg is on the little plate that's going around over here. Do you know what the little balls are called?
Peppercorns.
So close. They do kind of look like peppercorns. And they're spicy. The allspice, yeah. So they do. They look like peppercorns, and they're also very spicy. So you've got whole allspice going around too. The next ingredient on the sweet side is honey. And this we may or may not want to drizzle on top of all of the other ingredients that we have on our toast. Honey is great, especially during cold season with tea. And that's actually what got me through a cold that I had last week. Tea with lemon and honey. And the tea that I used last week was different than the one that I brought in today, which was a chai tea. And I forgot when making it today that when doing a black tea, use a little bit of tea because it will go a long way, and steep it for about 2 minutes. So the tea I had today, I'm going to taste a little bit because I want some, but it doesn't taste that great. Oh, so bitter. So bitter. Just like the turmeric would be. If you licked your finger, picked up some turmeric, I'm not saying do that. It does bother me. But you would taste how bitter turmeric is. So just a little bit, and we'll still get those anti-inflammatory properties into our bodies. Right. Let's move on to some protein ideas that we have for our toasts. So if we do want to make this more of a complete balanced meal, rather than adding only these toppings, we could add something like Greek yogurt, which is packed with protein. We could also add hard-boiled egg, sliced to make it look really pretty, or even a poached egg would work, whatever you like. And those 2 ingredients are going to add protein, making it a more balanced meal for us. We also have ingredients on the sweet side like sweetened cranberries and golden raisins. And I really like the colors in these. They bring out the fall leaf colors that we're starting to see now. I wonder how long they're gonna last because it's been pretty cold the past couple of days. So I guess we'll see about the leaves here in Boston, but I think they're so pretty right now. And another food that we've got up here that has really beautiful coloring is the apple. So I'm going to show you how I cut an apple. It's going to be very different from how Chef Tom and Chef Sam cut up the apples that we have up here. But this is something that I probably do almost every day at home, is cut up an apple for snacks, for Toasties. It's one of my favorite go-to things to have in the kitchen. So this one looks like a gala to me. Does anybody else like gala apples? Yeah. How about Granny Smith? Yeah. Really tart. Granny Smiths are my brother Connor's favorite. Gala. It is a gala. It's delicious. Okay. What else do I need to show you up here? How about the pumpkin butter? This is locally sourced pumpkin butter. And has anybody made pumpkin butter before? No? It's delicious. If you want to try something that's sweet and you can also get that savory flavor of the pumpkin, try the pumpkin butter. And we can use the pumpkin butter as a spread under all of the other ingredients.
What's in it?
The pumpkin butter has definitely, this particular one doesn't have the ingredients on it, but it's definitely got pumpkin, butter,
Yeah.
brown sugar.
It's just cooked down, sweetened slightly, probably whatever spices the local person decided to put in there. Everybody's got their own recipe, but it's similar to apple butter. I think somebody mentioned it, apple butter. It's very similar in technique.
Here we go.
Slowly simmered puree.
It is. It's pumpkin puree and cane sugar, spices, which are probably a combination of the ones that we talked about up here. And then it's got citric acid, which I'm guessing is to preserve the pumpkin butter so that it doesn't oxidize, which is a word that I learned from Chef Tom. And that brings me to the next ingredient, which is one of my favorites. It's the avocado. And this is a food that does typically oxidize, so it's great to store in a plastic container. I'll save containers from yogurt, Greek yogurt in particular, and I'll throw half of an avocado that I've already used or haven't used into that container and then refrigerate it for up to a day or two. But I also learned from one of our audience members that a great way to have avocados is to heat it in a pan, and that's something I haven't tried before, so I'm going to cross my fingers that it goes okay in my kitchen when I try it out. All right, so we've also got a nice leafy green, which we can add to incorporate vitamins into our Balanced Bite Toasty. This in particular is arugula, which I decided I'd like to incorporate because it's spicy. Has anybody ever tried one piece of arugula before? Just plain? Yes. Do you agree with me that it was spicy, on the spicier side of the leafy greens? Yeah. So I think it's so cool how we can incorporate all these different flavors and use ingredients that are coming straight from the ground. So that's a nice plant-based ingredient to go to. We've also got a couple of other plant-based ingredients up here. This is a bowl of pumpkin seeds, also known as pepitas, and they're delicious toasted or tossed into oatmeals, and as we may do today when we're making our Toasties, we might sprinkle a little bit of pumpkin seed over some mashed avocado, top it with egg, and it'll be a delicious balanced bite. I've also got a couple of additions here which don't provide much flavor yet. They do provide us with hydration, which is super important for reducing inflammation. We're going back there again to that stress, right? So these are called chia seeds, and they're hydrophilic, which I actually talked about in the first Balanced Bites series here last month. I incorporated them into a purple rain smoothie and an overnight oat recipe, and both of those recipes are also on my website if you're interested. But what happens when we combine the chia seeds with liquid or straight into our bodies with some water, it's going to absorb water, and it's holding water for us. So it's going to retain our hydration. So it's great for athletes, it's great for anybody that's on the go, which I have a feeling most of us are pretty much on the go from the moment we roll out of bed until later on at night, maybe. All right, let's make our toasties. We've gone through most of the ingredients here, and so when you're ready, come on up and we're gonna make some toasties together. This is one other ingredient that I wanted to get to. This is sriracha hot sauce. Anybody heard of hot sauce? Yeah. I like to zigzag it on top of toast, eggs, salads. It's really pretty and definitely gives our dish a flair. So come on up, and are we ready?
Yeah, I think Chef Sam's going to need in a minute, but we can start toasting in here if you like.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for the toast, and while we wait for the toast, I'll talk about this avocado that we've got up here. When buying avocados, we've probably learned that it does matter if they're ripe or not. And one great way to test if it's ripe or not is to give it a little squeeze. And we want it to have a little bit of a give, right? Just a little. Another way that I learned how to tell if an avocado is ripe is to use this circle up here on top of the avocado. And you can take it out, and then, oh, mine's kind of hollow actually. But if it's bright green or yellow, then the avocado is probably not ripe. If it's brown or maybe hollow like this one, then it's ripe, it's ready, and we can cut it up. So how about I show you how I cut my avocado, which again is it takes me a lot longer than probably Chef Tom and Chef Sam that cut up the avocados up here today. I asked him how long it took. He said 3 minutes to slice up all of the avocados up here. So what I like to do, and I do have an avocado cutter, and the purpose of that tool is to cut an avocado. I actually prefer using a spoon and a knife. It's how I like to do it. And if I am going to mash the avocado, then I don't really care what it looks like coming out of the shell. Just put it in a bowl, mash it up with a fork. But today, I'd like to try to get mine to look like those. So, let's see if I can do that. So right now, I don't know if you guys can see it. If you want to stand up and move closer, you can, as long as you're not in front of the Periscope camera over here. But what I've got here is a dome. I scooped out the avocado. Well, you can see in the cameras up there, can't you? Cool. So now I'm going to slice it into thin slices. And this would be great to go on top of my toast. So let's see. Looks like I've got the ingredients that I need for a toast of my own up here. So I'll start making mine, and then maybe as I make mine, your mouth will start to water, and then you'll be really, really hungry for when it comes time to make your own up here. Okay, I'm going to work on one. One is enough for me right now to deal with. Let's add okay, so this requires some thought for me. I have to figure out what exactly I want to go on my toast right now. Am I wanting something sweet, something savory? Do I want a mixture of both? Do I want to make myself a meal? Do I want protein? Healthy fats from the avocados? That's what I definitely want. So I think what I'm going to do is take my avocados, which I have pretty nicely sliced up here. Yay, I'm proud of myself, I did those. I'm going to mash it up now. Okay. So now I've got some mashed avocado. On top of that, I am going to add some sliced egg. It's around lunchtime, and I am feeling hungry. This is going to be so good. Okay. Maybe this will be a spooky toast, because these kind of look like ghost ice to me. Yeah, I like to have fun when I'm cooking and making food, because that keeps me more interested in it, more motivated to do it. So sometimes that means being a little silly, sometimes that means making something that's really beautiful. Whatever I'm feeling like in that moment. Oh. So that's the red chili flake. It's gonna add a little bit of spice. Oh, here's another ingredient that I didn't talk about yet. Going back to the plant-based ingredients, this is called hemp seed, and it's a great source of protein, especially, well, for anyone, but especially for somebody that does not eat meat. So I'm gonna try these. Just a little bit. Okay. Some turmeric, and we talked about, what does turmeric have in it that we really want? Starts with an A.
Anti-inflammatory?
Yes, anti-inflammatory.
I think
Great.
it's good for Alzheimer's too or something.
Yeah.
I read a big article about that. Except
Really?
it's not so fun to eat. You have to know how to use it, I
The
think.
turmeric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so bitter.
Definitely, it's very bitter,
Yeah.
right? I have also read some scientific research that's shown the benefits of anti-inflammatory foods on the brain. So I can draw the connection there between Alzheimer's prevention and anti-inflammatory ingredients. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to add a little salt now. Just a little bit, because like we talked about, it's got a great surface area, so it packs in a lot of salt for a little bit of the little granule. Okay, let me give this guy some hair. This is our...
Kara, can you talk a little bit about why these would be great snacks for midterms?
Absolutely. So what happens when we're studying for midterms? Do we start to feel like we're getting a little stressed out? Like we've got the world weighing on our shoulders, we've got so many things to do, and maybe that presents itself physically or maybe mentally or maybe both. Yeah, we've all been there, right? Yeah. So by incorporating more anti-inflammatory foods, we're working on actually reversing the effects that come about negatively from stress. So all of these ingredients are, you can probably find most of these in the dining hall, I would imagine. Yes, no, maybe. Avocado, hard-boiled egg, things like that. So creating a meal that's balanced will help us stay full throughout the day also. And when we're studying for exams, that's pretty important, right? And taking care of our brains and our bodies so that we can remember our information for exams and whatever else we're balancing throughout the day. Looks like we've got some toast from Chef Sam. Yeah. Okay. So did I answer your question, Jen? Does anybody else have questions? Anybody else want to eat?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy. Come on up. If you have any questions about the ingredients once you're up here, please let me know. I'll be snacking on my Toasty.
And before I do ask, I want to ask, is it gluten-free? Because we will make sure you get gluten-free because this has been mixed. I just want to make sure
It's not
we'll
mixed.
keep gluten-free.
Gluten-free is separate.
Okay. So you guys are all set? Very good.
Bon appetito.
Thank you. Thank you, Kara, so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Hi everybody on Periscope. How are you doing today? Leave me a question. I'll be able to see it later on. Gluten-free?
They say gluten-free.
So the Ezekiel bread is closest to you. This is the Udi's gluten-free, closest to us, and obviously the cinnamon toast over on that.
Can you see the grains in that one? Yeah. That's the sprouted. Just go to it. Oh, are you trying to get by? I thought my friend was coming that wanted rosemary, and then she's.
So that's how it comes out. Oh, you smashed them.
So, a little bite.
Oh, yeah. Let's smash it.
Perfect. Now I took a bite out of his eye.
I'll take one out, like, later on.